All right, Jon Rothstein back here on Inside College Basketball Now. I want to remind you, subscribe to Inside College Basketball Now on both Apple and Spotify. We want to be your Bible for the college basketball season and beyond. We're the only college basketball podcast coming to you 52 weeks out of the calendar year. Also want to remind you to subscribe and like to Inside College Basketball Now on YouTube. We want to get up to 300 likes per show, so smash that like button and subscribe. And also a programming note, in addition to today's show on CBS Sports Network, Mondays and Thursdays during the 25-26 college basketball season, we will be coming to you with a live show at 1 o'clock Eastern. So make us part of your lunch hour, and if you can't do that, get us on your commute home on Apple or Spotify, or during your morning workout or during your morning commute. We need an army with us each and every episode on Inside College Basketball Now, and we want you to be all you can be. And in addition to those Mondays and Thursdays episodes at 1 o'clock Eastern, Inside College Basketball Now will be bringing you additional episodes throughout the week featuring exclusive interviews with some of the biggest and best names in the sport. Earlier this week, I chatted with Vanderbilt head coach Mark Byington, whose team is now 15-0 after last night's win against Alabama. And the third big thing I want to get to today as we top off three big things, it's that Braden Burries deserves more national attention. Now, I honestly feel like Arizona as a whole, for a team that I've been voting number one for weeks in my AP Top 25 and the Rothstein 45 that I've had number one, I feel like Arizona has been a bit undervalued nationally. They shouldn't be. And I also feel like Brayden Burries has been a bit undervalued nationally. He shouldn't be. Brayden Burries was in a situation where he did not get really out of the gate at a really high level. Brayden Burries in the first 5 games of his college career only scored in double figures once. It was an adjustment period. But part of the reason why Arizona was not just able to absorb a slow start from Brayden Burries as a freshman, but also beat high-level competition with one of their marquee recruits finding his way, is because the roster composition reflects a team that was going to be able to weather that type of an early season schedule. Remember, there are 4 players on Arizona's roster: Jaden Bradley, Toby Awaka, Mo Crevish, and also Anthony Del Orso, that were a part of that unit last year that went to the Sweet 16 and lost to Duke, obviously winning multiple games in the NCAA tournament. And Arizona, with Brayden Burries struggling, was able to win an opening night game over Florida, edge out UCLA at Intuit Dome, go on the road and beat UConn. But now this rendition of Arizona is getting Brayden Burries as the player that Tommy Lloyd envisioned when he recruited him as a 5-star prospect. Over his last 10 games, Brayden Burries is averaging just under 19 points per game. And now Arizona, a team that, again, has ripped through a difficult non-conference schedule with some close wins, with some blowout victories, but Arizona has positioned itself, after all the wins that it's assembled, to be the number 1 seed on the West, in the West, on Selection Sunday. But there's a lot of basketball to be played between now and then. It starts for Arizona next Saturday at TCU. TCU is a team that obviously had Kansas dead in the water earlier this week at Allen Fieldhouse. We saw an incredible comeback by the Jayhawks. TCU then has this 3-game stretch. They went to Kansas. They will host Arizona on Saturday in Fort Worth, and then TCU goes to BYU. That is life in the Big 12. But it's another opportunity for Arizona to pick up a victory that is going to resonate between now and Selection Sunday. And again, we're a long ways away from Selection Sunday. We are a long ways away but before we look at a bracket. But in my head, as somebody who does every Friday a bracket projection of what the NCAA tournament is going to look like, you look now at a potential West region, and you look at potential seeds in the West region. The 1 seed is obviously Arizona, and the 2 seed, if the tournament started today, would be Gonzaga. So that means, and again, we got a long way to go, but there could be a 1-2 combination in the West region if things were to obviously be seeded today, with Arizona as the 1 and Gonzaga as the 2. Mark Few and Tommy Lloyd obviously worked together for 20 years. They've not played head-to-head. In fact, Tommy Lloyd inherited the back end of a home-and-home series between Arizona and Gonzaga and has yet to play the game because he doesn't obviously want to go back and face Mark Few, who gave him his big shot in college basketball. But that is a storyline to monitor from 30,000 feet. Another thing to monitor for Arizona, how devastating Arizona is on the backboard and in the paint. I went to an Arizona practice in Tucson early in the preseason, and Tommy Lloyd is a very measured guy. And he coaches that way. You see it on the sidelines. He's like a straight line, very composed. But Tommy Lloyd, multiple times when I was in practice, stopped the practice to make sure that the ball was going into the paint. Arizona's ability to pummel its opponents needs to get more attention. Through 2 Big 12 games right now against Utah and Kansas State, Arizona is plus 36 on the glass. And we talk about the best front court combinations in America. You're going to talk about Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar at North Carolina. You have to. You have to talk about Braden Huff and Graham Ike at Gonzaga. You have to. Huff's having an unbelievable year, shooting 66% from the field. But I'm looking at 3-man nucleuses right now and teams that are going to be built for the NCAA tournament. What Arizona has with Koa Pete, with Toby Awaka, with Mo Krivish, in terms of front court rotations, is as good or better than anybody in the sport. And if you're talking about this climate in college basketball and how difficult it is to find the right sauce, the more and more coaches you talk to talk about the imponents of one thing, the roster composition. Because it's not like it used to be where you knew guys were going to be around for multiple years. And if you give Dusty May credit for what he's done at Michigan, molding the clay with that roster, and if you give Ryan Odom credit at Virginia, and I did earlier this week, for what he's doing with that roster, you have to give Tommy Lloyd credit for the way the pieces are fitting in Tucson. 4 players back from last year's team that went to the Sweet 16, and 4 freshmen. Brayden Burries, Koa Pete, who had 15 and 10 last night against Kansas State, Ivan Karchenkov, and Dwayne Aristode. 8 players, 1 rotation. Arizona is one part of a loaded Big 12.